1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told. Boom! Today I thought we'd switch it up on the channel a little bit. I know I'm doing TV and film reviews, but being on furlough you can only watch so much TV. I've been following ZOE SUGG, Zoella, whatever you want to call her, for I would say since I was about 17. I watch her videos all the time, but I must admit that when she brought out Girl Online, it didn't appeal to us. I don't know, it didn't seem like my type of story, and because of my age at the time, I thought I was a bit too old to read Girl Online. However, when she said that she was going to do the MAGPIE Society, I was like, this appeals to me. This appeals to me so much. I think that it's really clever that they've used the superstition of the magpie. I mean, I don't know about yous, but I can't help it. I do salute the magpie all the time. My mum gets really annoyed with this. Like, I'll be in the car, I'll see one magpie and I'll go, hey Mr. Magpie, where's Mrs. Magpie? Does anybody else do that? I know it's silly and I know it's not really real, but I always think that if I see one magpie and I don't salute it, then something bad's going to happen. But if I see 2 for joy, then I'm like, oh, amazing, loving life. Now this was co-written with Amy McCulloch, and I must admit I've never read anything by her either, so I kind of went in blind. Anyways, now that we've kind of brushed along those lines, let's just get into the nitty-gritty of the book. It's said to be a YA Gothic novel, Gothic thriller. I don't know, it's got quite a long category when you look at it. I do have a few, I would say, not negatives, I would say more like constructive criticism, but that's what I'm hoping will come in the second book. But before that, I just want to say the novel is written through the eyes of 2 characters. So you have Ivory and then you have Audrey. Now, I believe that Ivy was written by Zoe and Audrey was written by Amy. Ivy was my favourite character. I related to her the most. Ivy is she's got a very, why can't I speak today? She's a very driven character. She's driven by success. You know, she has to be the best at everything. She has to be the best musician. She has to be the best academic student. And if she's not, she feels like she's failed. And I personally can relate to that. Not that this is a therapy session or anything. But I felt more drawn to the character of Ivy rather than Audrey. Audrey's a new student. She's from America. But anyways, I feel like before we get into the characters, let's get into the actual plot. So the book is based around a school called Aluminum Hall, and I feel like I've butchered the name. The book follows the tragic death of a student, and that happened before the kids broke up for summer. But the book starts... Hold on. Why don't I just read the plot to you? The screaming was coming from the sea. A figure was standing by the water. The sun had disappeared from the horizon, but there was enough ambient light to see by. A body lay on the sand, waves lapping at the soles of her feet. She was on her front, but her head was tilted to one side, her lips tinged an unnatural blue. Pale skin, blue lips, tangled strands of hair, twisted limbs, and on her back, an elaborate tattoo of a magpie. I feel like that just screams that you need to read this book. What a good blurb. So there you have it. The book starts off with the tragic death of a student, and then that's when we meet Ivy and Audrey. Audrey is a new student and she's from America, and she's actually running from the past, and it keeps coming up throughout the book thinking, oh, all I wanted to do was run away. Some things like she's haunted by something that's happened in America, and she's running to England to try and hide from it. She's hoping for a fresh start. But this new student keeps bringing up memories that Audrey would rather repress. And it's not until later on in the novel when you find out what happened to Audrey. That storyline I really found interesting. And then Ivy is upset because she's a prefect and she's supposed to have her own space in the school, and she's got this new girl in her room, and Audrey and Ivy don't get on at the start. Now the 2 characters, like I say, Ivy, I felt like I had a connection with her. I don't know, she felt more of like my type of personality, which is funny because sometimes she doesn't come across as likeable, but I don't know about you, but I'm more drawn to the characters that are unlikable. It makes me like them even more. So I would say the first half of the book is really us getting to know Ivy and Audrey. To be honest, sometimes I felt like that went on a bit more than what it should have done, but again, I don't know whether it's because that this is a series of books, which is why in the first novel they really want you to get to know the characters and who they are, what they're driven by, etc, etc. I would say that this book is basically Wild Child meets 13 Reasons Why. I say this because there's a couple of things that pop up in the novel that reminds us of Wild Child. So you know the scene where Poppy gets her phone taken away because they're not allowed to use phones, but the other girls have phones hidden and give the other teacher old phones. This essentially happens in the MAGPIE Society when Audrey first arrives to the school, so I just got a massive Wild Child vibes, especially with it being a boarding school as well. And then why I say 13 Reasons Why is because this isn't revealing any spoilers by the way, a podcast comes out and it's a voice saying that they believe that the student, it wasn't what everyone's saying, it wasn't a suicide, it was actually a murder, and the police aren't doing all that they can to uncover it, and they're hiding secrets. So with the podcast being released every week, that's why I kind of got 13 Reasons Why. It's like a build up and you're leading to the secrets that are untold. Yeah, so the first half of the novel we're really getting to understand Ivy and Audrey both as characters, and then later on, that's when secrets start to unravel. I was so invested, and then I must say I got 20 pages away from the end and I was kind of I don't know anything yet. It kind of hinted at certain things about how the girl died, but nothing is actually uncovered, and I don't know whether they're just savouring that for the second book, because it's already been confirmed there is going to be a book called Took for Joy. So I don't know whether this whole first one was kind of getting to know the characters, and then the second one we're just going to be hit with loads of information flying about. So in a way I really enjoyed the book, but then in the set I just felt a little bit deflated because I was like, oh, I have to wait until October next year to find out what happens. I do kind of wish I was given a little bit more information towards the end, because like I say, all of a sudden the book just starts picking up and you're literally throwing things left, right and centre about the MAGPIE Society, about the girl's death. So you're like, ooh, what is happening? I've only got 20 pages left and I feel like I know things, but then I don't know things because not everything's linking up. So that's the way I felt when I was reading it. So I would highly recommend it to people. I've seen people around the internet say, it's very simplistic the way it's written. In a way I do have to agree, but then again, I'm 26. This is a young adult novel, which is aimed at 12 to 18 year olds. And I kind of don't know whether this is aimed more towards the lower of the ages. I was watching one of Zoe's videos where she was talking with Amy, and she said, oh my god, can we go darker? Can we go darker? And Zoe, I've just got to say, Zoe and Amy, keep going darker. I don't feel like it was dark enough. Not for my little weird brain anyway. I feel like maybe they could have done a lot more, but again, if a 12-year-old's reading it, you don't want to scar them for life, do you? And then we'll meet also some supporting characters. Now again, this is where I should probably say I would say negative feedback, again just constructive criticism, as if Zoella's gonna watch this, as if Zoe and Amy's gonna watch this. But I would have liked to have known a bit more about Theodore, we're kind of getting to know Clover a bit, but not as much as I would want to. And then there is other supporting characters like Katie, but they kind of fall really heavily into the background and you don't really get to know what makes them tick. Do they have any hidden stories? I'm all about the main characters, but like I said in me Lily and Dash review, I'm always keen for supporting characters to kind of stand on their own 2 feet rather than them just being there for what feels like the sake of a little plot line between the main characters. It gives it a bit more depth when you do that as a writer or as a screenwriter. That's what I feel like anyway. I don't feel like it's bad writing, I just kind of wanted a little bit more from it. And I don't know whether it's going to be one of those things, when you see the first of something but then sometimes the sequel hits and the sequel is even better. I think this is what we'll get with the MAGPIE Society. I feel like the One for Sorrow was just a little introduction, but then because we're left with so many secrets, I feel like the second installment is just going to really, I'm hoping it's going to blow our socks off and we're going to love it. I didn't want to go into too much detail. I just want to kind of give you my initial thoughts. I don't want to ruin it for anyone just in case anyone hasn't read the book. These were just a couple of little thoughts I had while I was reading it. But yeah, I would definitely recommend if you kind of fancy a change and you're sick of looking at your phone and you're sick of being on your screen, especially since we're in lockdown, it's best to, I don't know, run away with a book, travel a bit, you know, since we can't at home. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little review. I look forward to seeing you soon.